Hey everyone, it's Junaid from Meninfluencer. Hope you look good, feel good and are ready to prosper, because in this video I want to talk about how to take control over your feelings. Because I know a lot of us always struggle to take control over our feelings because we want more out of life, or we are individuals that want to prevent our emotions getting in the way, and that's why we want to control our feelings. So if that sounds like something you can relate to, this video will definitely help you out. And thus, if you're someone that is new to this channel and would love to see more videos like this, please consider to the subscribe button and leave a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. Anyways, with that said, let's jump into the video. Number 1, accept the reality. So when it comes to a lot of us, for some reason, when it comes to controlling our feelings, initially we want to completely get rid of the feelings because we think this is the best method. But the truth is that most of us can't get rid of our feelings completely, because at the end of the day, we're all humans and we're emotional creatures, and thus there's no point in trying to find some sort of magical way to get rid of your feelings. And at the same time, this can be very unhealthy too. And that's why I'm mentioning that if you're someone that wants to have control over your feelings, it's very important to accept the reality, because taking control over your feelings doesn't necessarily mean that you completely eliminate your feelings. So good, understood, well done. So let's move to number 2. Aim for regulation, not repression. Alright, so now we understand that controlling your feelings isn't always eliminating your feelings, and thus there's no need to use any sort of repressional method to get rid of your feelings. Better to aim for regulation over your feelings, because this way you have more control over your feelings. And you must understand that you can never have 100% control over your feelings. And I know for some individuals that are control freaks, this can be very hard to accept, but that's the reality. Because if you're someone that wants to have control over your feelings, you need to accept that, and then also understand that you need to aim to regulate your feelings instead of having some sort of on and off button to instantly repress your feelings. Because obviously that's not the way our feelings work. If you're someone that feels sad on a day, you can't say, well, let me turn it off. Alright, now I feel happy again. Because our feelings can be very irrational sometimes, and thus trying to get as much control over your feelings is something you should try to aim for by regulation rather than to repress your feelings. And alright, I hope you now understand the fundamentals when it comes to feelings and what the key elements are as to how to control your feelings. And now I would like to move to the third point, and that's to identify your feelings. So we've covered what we can do and we can't do when it comes to our feelings, but now it's finally time to identify our feelings. Try to understand how we're feeling and why we're feeling that way. And for most individuals, it's obviously very easy to identify how they're feeling. So if you're feeling sad, you're feeling very happy, or you have any other sort of emotional situation, most of us can easily identify that we're feeling a certain way because we've probably felt it before and we just generally know how our feelings work. And thus most of us think we already know how we're feeling, and that's pretty much it. But that's the dangerous thing when it comes to our feelings, because sometimes we overlook that part. Sometimes we stop identifying as to what we're actually feeling, because you might be thinking that you're feeling a little bit sad, but sometimes it can be worse than that. Or sometimes you're too dramatic where you're not feeling that way. And thus, if you're someone that's identifying your feelings, you can understand what you're actually feeling. Is the current feeling you've had worse than any other sort of feeling that you've previously had? Or is it something that isn't that big of a deal and you are making it a bigger deal? Ask yourself those questions. And on top of that, we've got another part. Why are you feeling this way? Try to identify your feelings from a rational perspective. What happened on a particular day that made you feel this way? Did something out of the ordinary happen? Or was it a regular day? Or was it that you had certain things on your mind? Maybe you were very stressed out. Maybe you had some other issues going on and that has affected the way you're feeling. Maybe was it due to the action of someone else? And if it was because of someone else, are you making it a bigger deal than it actually should have been? Or do you have a very valid reason for it? And those are some of the typical questions you can ask yourself. And obviously there's tons and tons of more questions you can ask yourself, but the main components that those questions are derived from are: what are you feeling at the moment, and why are you feeling this way? Ask yourself those 2 questions on a continuous basis, and you'll notice that your self-reflection will only get better and better over time. Number 4, give yourself some space. So once again, I've already mentioned that you can't 100% have control over your feelings, and thus it's very key that you give yourself some space, because at the end of the day, sometimes time is the thing that heals our feelings or our emotions. If we're someone that are going through a very rough time, or if we're someone that just simply got out of a very rough situation and now we need to find our path again, in that particular instance, you need more time. Sometimes we simply have a very bad day, and whatever you're gonna do on that particular day won't fix it. And unfortunately, we all have those days, and in that particular instance, you can try every little tip and trick in the book, but it won't help you out. You simply need more space, you need more time for yourself. to start to elaborate as to why you might be feeling this way and try to prevent it in the future if you can't prevent it. And I understand that a lot of individuals, when I talk about giving yourself more space, think about physical distance when it comes to a particular person that makes you feel a certain way that you don't want to be feeling. And that's one of the interpretations. But another one is to give yourself some mental distance. Instead of constantly focusing on your feelings, you can try to distract yourself. And this isn't to repress your feelings in any sort of way, but sometimes your feelings can feel a little bit overwhelming, and thus by distracting yourself, this will make it a little bit easier for you. Number 5, accept your feelings. Did I say that you sometimes just simply need to accept your feelings? Because that's something that a lot of people never talk about. Just accept your feelings. Accept that you're not feeling very good on a particular day. Because at the end of the day, think about it. You're still living. You're still doing your everyday things, and thus there's no point of allowing your feelings to get in the way of you and your dreams and goals. And one way to actually accept your feelings, rather than to just think, I need to accept my feelings, is to speak it out loudly. This is what I've done previously, and it has worked tremendously well. I've seen other individuals do this as well, and that's just to speak it out. If you're feeling like an emotional wreck, speak it out. I am an emotional wreck. So what? I'm still living. I'm still human. I can still conquer the goals I want. And this way, it just feels like you're lifting all of the weight off your shoulders. And the same goes for individuals that are very stressed out. I've got a lot of assignments to make. I've got a lot of things to do. But so what? At the end of the day, I'm still here. I'm still grateful that I can breathe. I'm still grateful that I'm living life, even though I don't feel well. And that's the mentality you should be having when it comes to accepting your feelings. Instead of just thinking that you're accepting your feelings, try to speak it out loudly, because a lot of times we put too much weight on our shoulders by holding ourselves back when it comes to our feelings. While in most instances, it's not even a big deal to other individuals. If you just simply verbally say that you're not feeling that well, other individuals will have some empathy with you, they'll understand you, and both of you can continue with your day. And at the same time, if you're feeling less on a particular day, other individuals will take this into consideration, and thus this will prevent a lot of drama or other emotional stuff happening, because they know that if you end up being a little bit more rude, it's due to you having a bad day. And thus by accepting your feelings and expressing this, both parties can understand each other and you end up having a better situation. Number 6, write it down. So I've already talked about verbally expressing your feelings, but what about writing it down? So if you're someone that's feeling very emotional in a particular situation, and obviously you can't always express everything with everyone you want, you can always write it down on paper. Try to write the situation down. Try to analyze and think about how you're feeling at the moment and what is causing it, and this will really help you out. A ton of studies have been done when it comes to writing stuff down, and those studies aren't talking about expressing your feelings, but those studies are showing that individuals that write stuff down have a higher chance at succeeding in life than individuals that don't write stuff down. Because simply think about it, I see this all the time, and not to be rude or anything, but I find it quite unfortunate and stupid that a lot of individuals that feel very stressed out or overwhelmed because they have a lot of things to do, which I do have empathy for, because all of us have a lot of things to do. But the difference between a lot of people that can control their stress and individuals that can't control their stress is that individuals that can actually control their stress write stuff down. So instead of having everything wandering through your head, having to think about A, B, and Z, whatever you have to do on that particular day, you can simply write it down, and this way you have some sort of format. The weight is lifted off your shoulders, because now you don't have to constantly think about what you have to do in that particular day. Everything is on paper, and you can simply follow the list, and this way you'll be less stressed out and it will make your life easier. And that's just talking about the feeling stress. You can pretty much use it with any other sort of feeling. If you're feeling very sad, try to write down what happened on that particular day. Try to analyze what went wrong, what you could have done, or what the other person should have done. And this way all of your thoughts are on the paper now. You're lifting all of the weight off your shoulders, and you end up feeling more relief. And that's how you control your feelings. You try to control as much as you can, but at the same time understand that you can't control your feelings 100%, and then implement strategies to control your feelings by writing stuff down, speaking it out loudly, or simply trying to identify your feelings. And I genuinely hope that this video helps you out, because I want you to succeed when it comes to having control over your feelings, because this won't only help you to become a stronger person, it will also help you out in a lot of other areas in your life, and thus I genuinely want the best for you. And that pretty much sums it up for this video. I genuinely hope you appreciate this video and found it informative. If you did, please leave a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button and help your brother out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate your time, and I hope to see you on my next video. Bye bye.